Yo, what is up? Welcome back to Ring Rumble. Alright, so we need to talk about something that just went down that has the entire wrestling community absolutely losing their minds right now. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this: what happened at Crown Jewel has created a domino effect of tension, anger, and betrayal that nobody saw coming. But here's the thing that's got everyone talking, everyone furious, and quite frankly, terrified for what comes next. Dean Ambrose just dropped a message to Bronson Reed that is so chilling, so calculated, so menacing that it's sending shivers down the spines of everyone who's paying attention. And if you're not paying attention right now, trust me, you're about to understand why this matters on massive levels. This is exactly the kind of content we break down here on Ring Rumble, and if you haven't subscribed yet, I genuinely encourage you to hit that button. We've built an incredible community here, and we'd love to have you be part of it. But right now, let's dive into this absolute explosion of drama that nobody expected. So let's set the scene here. Roman Reigns just suffered one of the most shocking, most embarrassing, most brutal defeats of his entire career at the Crown Jewel Premium Live event. We're talking about the tribal chief, the head of the table, the guy who has been portrayed as practically untouchable, getting absolutely dismantled and losing his match. And when something like that happens, when the hierarchy of WWE gets completely flipped upside down like that, there's always fallout. There's always consequences. But the fallout from this loss has been absolutely catastrophic. Because Roman Reigns didn't just lose to some random competitor. This loss has implications. This loss has ripple effects. This loss has sent shockwaves through the entire locker room that people are still trying to comprehend. And here's where Dean Ambrose enters the picture, and let me tell you, his entrance into this situation is not friendly. Dean has been strategically positioned on the periphery of this whole situation, but he's been watching, he's been calculating, he's been waiting. And once Crown Jewel went down the way it did, Dean knew his moment was coming. So what does Dean do? He unleashes this absolutely chilling message to Bronson Reed, and when I say chilling, I mean the kind of message that makes you feel legitimately uncomfortable. This isn't trash talk. This isn't typical wrestling banter. This is a message. This is a threat. This is Dean Ambrose at his most dangerous: when he's quiet, when he's calculated, when he's got a plan. The message itself is dripping with undertones of violence, with implications of betrayal, with suggestions of what's to come. And Bronson Reed, despite being this absolute unit of a competitor, this massive force of nature in the ring, you can sense that even he is uncertain about what's coming next. Because Dean Ambrose has this incredible ability, and this is something we've seen time and time again throughout his career. He has the ability to burrow into someone's mind and just set up shop there. He gets under people's skin in a way that goes beyond physical strength. It's psychological warfare at its finest. Now, why is this message so significant? Why is this causing such a massive reaction across the wrestling community? Well, it all comes down to context and to history. Bronson Reed has been on an absolute tear. He's been dominating. He's been this unstoppable force, this guy who looks like he could legitimately destroy anyone put in front of him. He's been climbing the ranks. He's been making waves. He's been the kind of competitor that WWE Creative is clearly pushing as a major player. But here's the thing: he's been living in a world where he hasn't had to deal with someone like Dean Ambrose. He hasn't had to deal with someone who operates on a completely different level, someone who doesn't play by the same rules as everyone else, someone who will do whatever it takes to accomplish his goals. And Dean's message? It's a declaration. It's Dean saying, "Hey, Bronson, you see what just happened to Roman Reigns? You see how someone who was supposed to be untouchable just got taken apart? Well, there's a lesson in that for you. There's a warning in that for you, because Dean is making it clear that he doesn't care about your size. He doesn't care about your reputation. He doesn't care about how many people you've dominated. What matters is what happens when you step into the ring with someone who is willing to go to places you've never gone before. Someone who is willing to embrace chaos in ways that other competitors simply won't." The WWE Universe is absolutely split on how they feel about this. Some people are thrilled. They're excited to see Dean Ambrose back in a position where he's threatening people, where he's got potential coming out of his eyes. They want to see him clash with Bronson Reed. They want to see what happens when these two absolute powerhouses collide. But there are other people in the community who are nervous, who are concerned, who are worried that we might be seeing the beginning of something dark, something twisted, something that could potentially damage someone. Because when Dean Ambrose gets to this mental space, when he's operating on this frequency, things have a tendency to get real dark real quick. And then there's the question of Roman Reigns in all of this. Where does the tribal chief factor into this equation? Because see, this isn't just about Dean and Bronson now. This is about the entire power structure of WWE. Roman Reigns just lost. That's unprecedented. That's not supposed to happen. And if Roman's lost, if his aura has been shattered, then suddenly, everybody else in the locker room is smelling blood in the water. Everybody else is thinking, well, if he can be beaten, then what does that mean for me? What does that mean for my position? What does that mean for my future? It's creating this environment of uncertainty where alliances are being questioned, where loyalties are being tested, and where people like Dean Ambrose are licking their chops at the opportunity to take full advantage of the chaos. The psychology of what Dean is doing here is absolutely brilliant from a storytelling perspective. He's not just challenging Bronson to a match. He's not just throwing down a gauntlet. He's getting into Bronson's head. He's making Bronson think about what could happen. He's making Bronson consider the possibilities. He's creating doubt. And doubt is a weapon in professional wrestling. Doubt is something that can destroy someone faster than any physical attack ever could. Because once you start doubting yourself in this business, once you start wondering if you're really as unstoppable as everyone thinks you are, that's when you become vulnerable. That's when you become breakable. Now, we've also got to talk about the brilliance of the timing here. Crown Jewel just happened. Everyone's reeling. Everyone's trying to process what they just witnessed. Roman Reigns is dealing with his own internal demons right now, his own sense of shock and betrayal. And right in the middle of all that chaos, right when everyone's attention is divided, right when the landscape is shifting, Dean Ambrose strikes with this message. It's like he's hitting Bronson when Bronson's not expecting it. Not physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And that's classic Dean. That's what makes him such a dangerous competitor. The message also has this underlying suggestion that Dean is aligned with forces that Bronson might not fully understand. Or it could be interpreted as Dean being a lone wolf, willing to take on anyone, including Bronson, for the opportunity to cement his legacy. Either way, it's effective. Either way, it's got people talking. It's got people speculating. It's got people theorizing about what comes next. And in professional wrestling, when you've got people talking, when you've got people speculating, when you've got people emotionally invested in what comes next, that's when you know you've got a compelling story on your hands. Let's also acknowledge what this could mean for the trajectory of Bronson Reed's career. Here's a guy who's been on an absolute roll, who's been positioned as a legitimate threat to anybody and everybody in the WWE. But if he's going to reach the next level, if he's going to cement himself as not just a great wrestler but as a legendary competitor, he's going to have to prove himself against people like Dean Ambrose. He's going to have to prove that his dominance is real, that it's not just a phase, that it's not dependent on a particular situation or circumstance. So in a weird way, this message from Dean could be the best thing that ever happened to Bronson's career. It could be the catalyst that propels him to the next level, or it could be the beginning of his downfall. That's what makes this so compelling, so uncertain, so absolutely captivating from a storyline perspective. And here's what I want you guys to really understand about why we cover these stories, why Ring Rumble exists as a channel, why this community matters so much. It's because professional wrestling is more than just athletic competition. It's storytelling at the highest level. It's psychology. It's drama. It's the human condition being played out in a wrestling ring with consequences, with stakes, and with the eyes of millions of people watching and waiting to see what happens next. When you've got moments like this, when you've got messages like what Dean just sent to Bronson, when you've got the uncertainty of not knowing what comes next, that's when professional wrestling reaches its peak. That's when it becomes appointment television. That's when people can't look away. The speculation is absolutely running wild right now about what could happen between these two. Could we see a match at the next major pay-per-view? Could this escalate into something bigger? Could other people get involved? Could this be connected to larger storylines that WWE is planning? The beauty of this situation is that we genuinely don't know. We're in a place of uncertainty, and that's exactly where professional wrestling should be. Nobody should be able to predict with absolute certainty what's going to happen next. That's what keeps audiences engaged. That's what keeps people invested. And I also want to talk about what this does for the legacy of Dean Ambrose. This guy has been through so much in his WWE career. He's had the UPS, he's had the downs, he's had moments where people questioned whether he had the chops to be a top guy, whether he could carry the company on his shoulders. But here's the thing about Dean: he's always got something brewing under the surface. He's always thinking several steps ahead. He's always got a plan. And this message to Bronson Reed is proof of that. It's proof that Dean is still a major player, still a threat, still someone who can affect the trajectory of the entire company with a single move, with a single statement, with a single message. So what comes next? Where does this go from here? Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And that's exactly why I need you guys to stick around. That's why I need you guys to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single update, a single development, a single twist in this absolutely wild story that's unfolding before our very eyes. Because Ring Rumble is dedicated to bringing you the most in-depth, most thoughtful, most passionate coverage of everything happening in professional wrestling. We don't just report the news. We analyze it. We contextualize it. We try to understand the why behind the what. The crown jewel loss is going to echo through WWE for months to come. Roman Reigns has been shaken. Bronson Reed has been put on notice. Dean Ambrose has thrown down a challenge. The entire hierarchy of WWE has been turned upside down. And we are living in a moment of absolute uncertainty, absolute chaos, and absolute opportunity for compelling storytelling. This is the stuff that gets us excited about professional wrestling. This is the stuff that reminds us why we love this industry so much. This is the stuff that you simply cannot make up. So if you're watching this right now and you haven't subscribed to Ring Rumble yet, I genuinely hope you will. I know that sounds like standard YouTube stuff, but I mean it from the bottom of my heart. We're building something special here. We're building a community of people who care deeply about professional wrestling, who want to understand the nuances, who want to see beyond the surface level. We want you to be part of that. And if you already are part of that community, then I want to say thank you. Thank you for watching, thank you for supporting, thank you for being here with us as we navigate this absolutely insane wrestling landscape together. Hit that like button if you found this analysis compelling. Leave a comment down below, tell me what you think is going to happen between Dean and Bronson. Tell me where you think this story goes. Tell me what you think Roman Reigns should do next. Because those conversations, those discussions, those passionate debates about professional wrestling, that's what makes this community special. That's what makes this channel worth creating content for. So engage, share this video with your wrestling friends, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next massive development in this absolutely unprecedented moment in professional wrestling. We'll see you in the next video. Let's go!